Hello friends, so in this video we're going to bring a lot of the content that we've learned already and we're going to upskill and advance our network. So we're going to use subnetting here. So at the moment we've got quite a bit of wasted space if we use default settings. So by default we will have 254 available addresses on this network or these networks, and we want to reduce that down. So we want to reduce that down for security reasons because we don't want open spaces being vulnerable to attacks. And we're also going to reduce it for performance. So a network should run quicker if it's got less addresses to run through. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to configure DHCP. We're going to enable wireless devices, and then we're going to configure SSH. So this laptop over here is going to act as sort of a remote laptop that's going to connect through SSH to the router. So first things first, we're going to go into the router and start configuring that. So I've basically got my network addresses labeled here. These are two different networks. So I know previously you've been configuring servers in the last videos. Now we're going to move that server. It's good practice to have that on a separate network. So we'll go into this straight away and I'll explain it as we're going along. So enable configure terminal. Okay, so IP address 92.168.1.1. Right, so normally you've done default settings here. Now in this scenario, we're going to use the last octet. We're going to put 224. So what that means is basically that we've got, if you round that up, then you add 32 gives you 256 because 0 is a number. Okay, so technically you've got 32 available addresses, but you've got to subtract 2. So you've got to have a broadcast address and you've got to have a network address. So 224 will give us 30 available network addresses or client addresses on this network. Okay, so as you can see, we've only got a handful of devices, so it gives us a bit of room for expansion. So it will work out quite well. Okay, so no shutdown. Okay, so that's that side configured. And then if we just do the other one. Okay, so on this scenario, because this is just going to have our server on there, we're going to really reduce this down. So we're going to use 252. So again, we've only really got a couple of addresses available. So one's going to be for the router, one's going to be for the actual server itself. So not a lot of room for expansion on this side of this network, but we don't need that because we've only got a couple of devices and we want this to be as secure as possible because it's got our high prized assets on there. So 252 is our 255.255.255.252 is our new subnet mask. Okay, and then no shutdown. Okay, so just to recap there, so by default on a Class C network, you've got 254 addresses available. On these now, you've got significantly reduced addresses. So you've got 2 addresses available on the server side, and then 30 available on the client side. So this left network here. So that's that bit done. Now we're going to configure DHCP, but we're only going to do that on the left network. We're only going to have static addresses on the right hand side. Okay, so if we go IP DHCP exclude address, so we're going to exclude a couple of addresses here. We go 1.1 and then let's go to 1.5. This is just removing these addresses from the pool. And name our pool. You can call this whatever you want. I'm going to call mine FOC. And then I need to specify the network address. and subnet mask of this network is 224. Okay, so this is the left-hand network. And then need to specify the default router, 1.1, and then the DNS server, which is going to be the server on the other side. So that I'm going to eventually going to give that a static address of 2.2. Okay. That's our DHCP configured. Now let's just test to see if we've got that working. Which we have, so that's the first address of our pool. Just check it on this other one. Yep. Okay, so the next thing is this laptop. When you want this laptop to connect wireless to this access point. So the access point, if you go to wireless devices, just choose this AP here. So what you want to do, you want to click on laptop. There's a little power button here. Turn that off. And there's a dummy port. Drag that into this, so you want to get rid of it. And then you're going to want this W here for wireless. Drag that in and turn it on. And then if you go to desktop, IP configuration, DHCP, oops, might just need to turn it back to static and then on again. There you go. So that's that laptop on the same network as these wired devices getting a DHCP address. Okay, so this side here, we're going to need to configure this server. So go to desktop, IP configuration, and then 192.168.2.2. Subnet mask was 252. Default gateway 192.168.2.1. And the DNS server is just this device itself. Okay. That. Then we need to turn on DNS. Let's make our address in our website or whatever. Let's go to friend.com. Address is 192.168.2.2. And that. Okay, let's just check on this configuration again. Yep. Yeah, we're all right. Okay, so now let's see if we can access the internet from this particular device. So go to the browser. And we want www.friends.com. Again, you can call it whatever you want. There we go, we've got web access. So again, from previous videos, you've sort of edited this these HTML files on the server, which is good practice to learn some further skills. Okay, so finally, we just need to configure SSH now on the router. So get on your router. Let's go. We've given IP addresses and all that jazz. So let's give it a host name. Yes, let's change the name of the router. I'm going to add domain name. Create our keys. Just a gig of bit keys. Okay. The next thing is going to be to create usernames. So we'll go enable password, put friends, okay, and then username. And then we're going to go complete username, password, friend. Okay. So a good practice to have different passwords here. I'm just using this as an example. Different passwords from the enable password to the username password. So SSH version 2 and then line. This is a number of connections we can have at any one time. 0 to 15 gives us 16 because again 0 is a number. And transport input SSH login local. Okay. That should be that done. So on the laptop now I just need to do the same as I did on the other laptop. So physical, turn it off, drag that there, put the wireless in, turn it back on again, enable DHCP. We've got that, so we've got a net. So this is just simulating. This laptop might move around, but ideally you would want this on a different network, but we'd have to go into a bit of some routing protocols for that. So that's a bit of a different area, but for now this just sort of symbolises that. And then we're going to try it with our SSH connection. So it's a command prompt, SSH -l, main name, and then the IP address of the router. And then we're in. Okay, so we're on the router now, just as we would be normally. Like I say again, it would have been a good idea to have different passwords here. So that both my passwords, the original one, enable password friends, was just to log on to the router, and then you can configure a bit more here. So you probably want the enable password and the username password to be different or a bit more secure than my simple passwords. That's it really. That's a small little project done. Got a nice little efficient network now. It's subnetted down. You've got wireless devices. You've got DHCP, so manual IP configurations needed. So the more and more devices we add to this network on the left, the less we have to do. because we just tick the DHCP box, and all is good. And that is it. That is a nice little project for you to complete your assignments or just do in your spare time. Enjoy.